Hey guys, this is Beastie. It's been a while, but I'm finally back. We're back on YouTube again, and I know a lot of you are probably thinking about skipping this competition, and I honestly don't blame you because this meta is tough, especially for new players. I think I've seen new players from Vexy and Miranda's come to Townstar these days and try to compete because of the event, right? So I actually had got a good build for you guys to use, or maybe even learn from if you don't, because I know a lot of people don't want to just copy the build, which I can respect. I know if you're watching this build, I'm pretty sure you want to learn. So I'm gonna show you pretty solid no NFT build, and I'm gonna show you how it's done, right? So there's a lot to unpack in this video, so pay close attention. You're gonna learn a lot of key mechanics that I use and some creative ways to approach the game, especially when we are given a very complex meta like this one. So without further ado, let's start. So number one that I want to talk about is to always overproduce wood. I know I sound like a broken record already because I say this in almost every video, but yeah, I'm gonna say it again. You have to overproduce wood on this build, right? So how do you do that? It's very simple, really. You just have to plant a lot of tree farms, a lot of trees. You need a lot of tree farms, and make sure you have enough loggers. There's really no magic trick, no shortcuts here to make more wood. You just need to open up the map to make room for more trees and more loggers. That's just how you do it if you want to reach a good production rate. But I think the real question here is that how do we open the map to make room for this much resources, right? And if the answer to that is probably obvious if you look into my previous builds, and it's always like the roads using. I want to see you guys play and make builds using less roads without hurting too much of the travel times of your buildings, right? Because it is possible, right? If you just think about it and you actually play around it enough, you're gonna be able to figure it out. Because a lot of people tend to use a lot of roads because they don't want to slow down the travel time of their buildings, right? Because you want them to travel fast, right? Which is actually a great idea, but what if you can use very little roads without hurting the travel time, right? And a lot of that is based on positioning, how you position buildings, and having a main road. Because if you're gonna look at my build, I usually have only one or two main roads in the build. And when I say main road, I'm talking about the straight line that connects your building, the straight line of roads that connect your buildings to your storage areas, right? So keeping it simple and efficient, it will, let me show you actually what a main road looks like. So for this build, we don't really have a main road because all of the roads are cut except on this area right here. So for this build, we don't really have that much of a straight roads except for this one right here in the middle, right? And we have an offset road right here, but it's still connecting this to straight line of roads. So we have a straight line of roads from here to here, right? So this is our main road. This is this is it, like, and then the rest is just like offset because we want to fit as many buildings as we can, right? To open the map for more meadows, more trees, and more crops like grapes in this area, pumpkins. We have vanilla beans. We also have vanilla beans here on the side, and we have the wax here in this area, right? So we really have to compress everything on this side with all of the industrials that we need to balance to make room for this side right here to be our crops and our animals. So this is how I position them because there's a mountain here on this side. So we're gonna cast shade 5 tiles, which is right here. So yeah, the only thing we can place on this side is basically vanilla beans because they do not get affected by shade, and some buildings, right? And then our crops will be compressed in this area right here. So that is how I actually compress them. But the way for us to be able to fit this many crops in the meadows and the beehives and clover fields is because we're just basically maximizing the buildings we can get for each road. So we only have one main road here, which is connected on a straight line, and the rest are just cut, right? So the road is cut here in this area, which is where the storages are. We have the warehouse. We have two warehouses in here, and then I put a third warehouse here. So this is not this one right here is not connected to the main road because we're gonna need an extra warehouse, because at some point this two right here is gonna get filled up, because there's so many items that we're producing and overproducing, and we have to auto sell them. So this two is not enough, right? So we have a weird warehouse here that's not connected to the main road, but that is fine. So next thing I want to talk about is the oil seep, because not only did I use the oil seep for gasoline, I also used it for the potteries, right? And what do I mean by using it for the potteries? As you can see here, each potteries. Okay, so you can see potteries need 2 energy, and there's no passive energy around them because they do get affected by dirt or pollution that is coming from the power plant and refineries, so we have to put them away, right? So the way we can give them energy is to just make them grab it themselves, right? And we're producing energy in this build using the oil seep, and we're just producing passive crude oil for our power plants. And yeah, they're gonna be pumping out energy every 10 seconds. So yeah, we made them grab energy, and because we made them grab energy, we're gonna reduce their travel time a little bit by giving them passive water drums. You can also make them walk or grab water drums, but you're gonna need more water facilities, and I just don't want to do that. So I just went for passive water drums instead. So yeah, they are grabbing. Also, these potteries will be grabbing clay fields themselves, which is okay. So aside from the potteries, we also have one shallow mine right here that's grabbing energy, and this one is making iron. And the reason why I made it grab energy is because I want him to walk more and slow it down, because I don't want him to grab too much lumber, because we want most of the lumber to go through wax and the fabric plants that's making wool yarn. You also have chromium here and limestone, which is passive energy, and it's okay to like give them passive energy because these guys are gonna run like for 2 water drums and one lumber. So that's already a lot of travel time for them, and their craft time is a lot slower. They're 120 seconds compared to iron, which is 60. So that's how I did it, to like kind of like balance, to keep them close to each other, but not really, because we're still overproducing iron. So this build is making 13.33 per hour Halloween boxes. So yeah, that's our rate. And if we're gonna scroll up, we're making 87 gas. We're basically overproducing everything except for candlestick, because this is where our bottleneck is. Our bottleneck is vanilla beans. Or actually, we're not. I think we're good on vanilla beans, but yeah, in order to push this to 14 per hour, we need more vanilla beans and more wool, which means more meadows as well. And we might also need another beehive to increase wax. Right, so yeah, our candlestick is at 13.6. As you can see, wine bottles is at 15 per hour. It's just following chromium and limestone. Limestone is actually 14, so maybe our glass bottle will drop over time. So yeah, everything looks good at 14 except for sangria and candlesticks, right? And that's mainly because it's following the rate of... wait, let's actually make Cabernet wine. My wine rate is 14, so 13.9, which is close to 14, I believe. I think 68 is just basically like 68 divided by 5 is 13.6, so Yeah, grapes is also a bottleneck if you want to push it for 14 per hour. So yeah, this is our bottleneck. Our bottleneck is wool. Our wool yarn rate is 41. That's just following the wool rate. And we're overproducing lumber, I believe. As you can see, we have 4 lumber on the lumber yard. We're probably gonna auto sell that at some point. But it's fine. It's good to overproduce lumber because that means we're maximizing what we can get out of the beehives and the mines, and also the fabric plants. We just need to push the tier 2 resources to get into tier 3. So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, I think that's the rate. Now let me show you the auto sell settings. So this is the auto sell. I basically auto sell everything at 10 because we want to clean the storages as fast as possible. The only thing that I'm not auto selling at 10 is the wood, which is 15, because I mean, the town is not really auto selling wood because we're not overproducing wood. We barely have enough for everything. But yeah, at some point it's gonna auto sell lumber and wood. So yeah, we just want to keep more wood on the lumber yard after the 10 sales. After selling at 10 items, so there's still like 5 wood left on the lumber yard. But this barely doesn't happen. I think we're auto selling like, because I think we're barely producing enough wood to keep the Cabernet grapes growing. And yeah, everything else we auto sell at 10. Batteries, you also have to make sure you auto sell batteries because it's gonna clog your warehouses. You have to auto sell everything. Like, that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Like 30, I think it's like 32 items that you have to put on auto sell, and you just have to sell all of them, put them all at 10. And also we're auto selling gasoline because our truck is not really that busy on this build. It's a super low rate, so yeah. I also auto sell gas for extra points, because maybe it might make a difference at the end. You never know. And yeah, we also have one green timer windmill here that's making sugar, and then we have 5 red timers right here. It's okay to make these guys walk because their craft time is extremely long. So yeah, they're gonna produce very little sugar per hour anyway. So it's okay to make them walk. So I put them at the very end, just to support this one windmill right here, because one windmill is not enough to make 100 sugar per hour. And I think we need at least 95. So yeah, we're also overproducing sugar. But that is fine, because we have an express depot here. It can sell a lot of stuff per hour, and our rate is only 13 per hour, so it's okay to overproduce the other stuff. Like, we have more than enough time and more than enough gasoline to sell the excess. Alright, so yeah, we have 2 lumber mills here that's making lumber. I think this is the most optimal spot for you to make enough lumber. Like, just use 2 of them connected to the main road, because they have access to this lumber yard, so they can grab wood for themselves. So yeah, and then this one's gonna be making lumber or oak barrel. We have our master wizard here that's making magic powder, and then at the back, next to this lumber yard, we have our forge that's making gold. We have a gold panning site here. I tried to control it because I don't want to overproduce it. We're not really auto selling gold ore because we're not overproducing it. We're actually slowing it down so that we only make enough gold, so we don't overproduce gold too much, and that's gonna avoid the warehouses from getting clogged too much. We only have 2 storehouses. This is enough because we're not really overproducing that much storehouse items, so 2 is enough. And yeah, we have 3 chicken coops right here. Just make sure you spread out your chicken coops because you don't want them to be stealing too much feed from the sheep pens. You want to give them a good amount of distance, just so the sheep pens could actually grab more of the meadows that are nearby. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope I covered everything, and if I do miss something, just let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to know. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments down below. Also join the math Discord. I've been posting a lot of no NFT builds there. You guys might have been missing out if you're not joining the Discord. You're missing out a lot because even if I don't post a video on YouTube, I still make no NFT builds almost every week. So if those builds doesn't make it on YouTube, I just post it on the math Discord. So make sure you join the math Discord. You're gonna see the builds there. You're gonna learn more from it. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next week.